been going this whole time?
No, I don't think so. But all right, I think we're online. We're here. So, hey everyone, what's going on? We're just doing a live stream. Trying to get back into this now that I can live stream again. And yeah, it's still have no idea what I'm doing and whatever. But eventually, I'll figure this all out. But really, just I don't know. I don't know what we were really even going to talk about. But I was just Sam texted me earlier to do a live stream like 2 hours ago, but we finally figured this out. And in the mix of it, I was just looking at the latest news story. And of course, it's about the Supreme Court approving $2.5 billion to build the wall. And let me pull up my screen here, share my screen for you guys. Hopefully, this will work this time. Entire screen. And I mean, it's just so obvious $2.5 billion. And, that's because in Gematria, Trump equals 25, Pence equals 25. And remember, he called out the nation about building the wall on January 8th this year. And then during that time, we had that government shutdown that came to an end on the 25th day of the year, which was also Trump's second year and fifth day of being the president. And then, of course, like the reflection of 52, or the reflection is 52, president equals 52, and so does government, and so does White House, and so on, right? Even the Pope called out Trump about building the wall on that day, and the word Pope equals 25 and 52. And then they had the State of the Union on the date of 2/5 because it got pushed back because of Donald Trump and the government shutdown and whatnot, and he wasn't getting an invitation, which is 52, from the 52nd Speaker of the House, who was Nancy Pelosi. So I don't know, just interesting. We get this brand new story of the mainstream media, always by the numbers. They approved $2.5 billion. So just in the mix of covering this story, and the same wanted to do a live stream. So whatever. Sam, you got anything to talk about? I mean, I got a billion things I could talk about, but I'll let you talk if you want to talk for a bit.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen here. I just
Yep.
want to talk about a good synchronicity I had here. Actually, it's one that my mom had, and so I looked at it and I shared it here. But I looked at this yesterday and I noticed this. First of all, it's called My Mom and 11, and I just noticed I published it on the 11th. And when I looked at it yesterday, it had 11 views. I just looked at it a minute ago, so it's back to 12 now. But I'll show this up again. But my mom's actually 56 years old right now, so 5 plus 6 is 11. My grandma is 83. 8 plus 3 is 11. And I was born 1 month and 1 day before my mom's birthday. And that day was the 11th, and that's the day we took my grandma to the nursing home. And I even talked to her today. She still says every time she looks at the clock, it's either 11:11 or it's 11 minutes past the hour. She's got that going on big time.
Dude, 11 has been following me like crazy since last year. So I know it's important to pi because pi equals 11. And, there's a number of things that's important to, but I know there's something going on with Halloween and my laptop computer completely crashing on Halloween. It was all synced up to that number 11 too. So just pointing that out, I guess. Let's see here. Pull up. I don't know.
Am I still sharing my screen?
I don't think you are because it's like on me now, but possibly. I think it's just a big old picture of me, but you can reshare it.
Oh, you couldn't
Reshare
see the
stuff
whole
when we talk
time.
about.
I had switched it over to my blog.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw your blog was up there. Is it still on?
I don't know. I never turned it off. I don't know how. Unless it already did it.
Huh. Okay. So it's not on?
You see, is it back to my blog now?
No, I just see your face.
Okay. We're good.
You're good?
Yeah. What do you think with all these? There's a lot of 20s coming up lately. You just talked about 25. And yeah, I did yesterday. I looked at the Tay sentencing, and that was all about 24. And then Tyler Skaggs was 22.
It was 22. What was all about? What was 22 with him?
Let's see here. Oh yeah, his his Angels equals 22,
Oh,
and his
okay.
autopsy report won't be released until October 2nd, which is date numerology of 22. And of course, the span between Nick Edenhart and Tyler Skaggs' birthday was 2 months and 22 days. Like the angel number, which I believe is one that means it's supposed to be symbolic that like a major change is coming if you choose to prepare for it or something, is what it means. And then, of course, August 10th is the 222nd day of the year.
Yeah.
So that could be interesting there too. Those could end up being interrelated.
Yeah, it could be. That day I've been talking about forever. I don't know. I don't know what it is. The Indians, this is synced up to Rocky Colavito. The Indians in baseball are like the Houston Rockets for the NBA for me. There's always a bunch of weird things that are related to them. They never win, but it's always connected to who wins and so on. It's kind of weird. So, but yeah, I didn't even think about. I forgot about the 22s. That's why I asked you because I couldn't remember what you were talking about. But because I covered a whole lot of other things about earthquakes and so on. So the number 45, but I don't know. I haven't really saw a whole lot of 20 stuff, I guess, that you're talking about either. I haven't really been to the loop very much. I've only been covering a few stories here and there and whatnot. So, but
Well, this Tay K sentencing, this I don't know. There's some rapper called Tay K. I don't keep up with what the kids are into nowadays, so I'm not sure. But apparently, there's some rapper called Tay K who got sentenced to prison. I think it was yesterday, and of course, the name Tay K equals 24. And yesterday, or it wasn't yesterday, it was on the 23rd. I had it's a day with 24 numerology. And if you write out his full name, which is Tamor McIntyre, it equals 204. And July 23rd was the 204th day of the year. So it's even the 204 is still a 24.
hmm. Yeah, I saw you posted about him, but like I said, I never even looked into it. I need to though because he got arrested in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Huh. Oh, that was really important to the Nipsey Hussle stuff that I was talking about, and the trash bombing in 2016, and how it synced up to the date of 9/19 because they caught that bomber in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Huh. I'll have to check him out when I'm done here, but crazy. Plus K is the 11th letter, and so on. Tay K. So, well, you care if I share my screen? I'll share some stories and whatnot.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I don't even know what I should talk about first, honestly. So maybe Boris Johnson. Should we look at Boris Johnson? Because Boris Johnson, the new prime minister, there's definitely something important to him. We were mentioning that like what way back when Brexit first began on the vote that was on 6/23, and that's really important in Satanic Gematria because prime minister equals 623, and it's been a lot about Theresa May and whatnot, and so does European Union. That equals 623, and that's why there was the big story on January 15th this year with Theresa May, because it was 6 months and 23 days after 6/23. So definitely something important to that. But Boris Johnson was important because he had the Donald Trump's hair and he looks like Donald Trump and he's racist. And then they bring up that story about him being racist as well. And he was important. Brexit was important to the election. It was 138 days before the U.S. election, and Donald Trump equals 138. And the reason I bring all this up is because if you look up Boris Johnson, his birthday just so happens to be the anniversary of the real King James's birthday. So in 2016, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were super important to the royal family symbolism and whatnot, winning the NBA finals on the real King James's birthday. You have King James and whatnot. So this guy was born on that same day. And when he assumed office was July 24th, which is interesting because if you look up King James, what is it? VI and I. Well, I forgot the N there, but if you look him up, he became the king of the Scots on that date, 7/24. So he became the king of the Scots on 7/24. Boris Johnson becomes the prime minister on that day, and he's born on the same day this guy was born. And remember how Cleveland was important and whatever else to Donald Trump in the election, and then he had his national convention in Cleveland, and it was 88 days after Queen Elizabeth's birthday, and Trump equals 88, and he came out to the song "We Are the Champions." So there's definitely something with Boris Johnson and how it syncs up. And like I said, I've been saying for a number of years, I think Queen Elizabeth, she's super important to it all, but I feel like within the next year, that might be the year that she's going to die. And there's something really important to the date of 9/19 every year with Queen Elizabeth. So I don't know. Just bringing all that up with Boris Johnson because it was connected to the election of Trump and connected to the royal symbolism, and then he just so happens to have the the same birthday. His name also equals 67 and 158, and Theresa May's resignation went into effect on 6/7, which is the 158th day of the year. So how fitting. So, got anything to add?
Not yet. I'm looking here though.
There's something more too. Like Slipknot just released that song called "Soulway Firth," and I've been talking about the Iowa State Fair like crazy with Slipknot. And when you watch that music video, in that video, if I could find it here, Slipknot. I don't know. Remember where I put it?
I was listening to the replay of Zach's radio show today, and they were talking about how the Slipknot members, when they took donations, when the daughter died or something, everything was sent to the Masonic Lodge.
Oh yeah, that's where the funeral was too.
Uh, I thought that was kind of odd, but I guess it makes more sense now.
For sure. Yeah, and I've been talking a lot about Francis Bacon gematria, and Iowa even equals 74, just like gematria and so on. So see if I can bring it up here. Pretty sure it's Francis Bacon. It's one of them Bacon ciphers. Yeah, Iowa equals 74, just like gematria. And doesn't Corey Taylor's name equal 74? Or Corey Todd Taylor? So definitely important. Let me bring back my post though. So this is Slipknot's new music video, Solway Firth, and it's like I don't really know that much about it, but when I was looking it up, it's like some type of water area of Firth that is between Scotland and England, right? So it's just interesting, I guess, Scotland, and then I'm talking about King James, who's important to Scotland as well. And then I think of Mike Myers, who was important. I've been talking about Wayne's World and Dana Carvey, and then we get the death of Ross Perot, who Dana Carvey had portrayed and whatnot. And isn't Shrek Scottish, or that voice? Isn't it like a Scottish voice, or am I crazy?
Yeah, I think it kind of is. But
Yeah.
Dana Carvey was George Bush too.
Oh, he's George Bush too?
Yeah.
Huh. And he's also in the movie Halloween 2. And think about Michael Myers and Mike Myers and Halloween. That's what's interesting. This song, Solway Firth, it has lyrics from the single that Slipknot released on Halloween last year. They released this single, and this new song, or this album, We Are Not Your Kind, comes from a lyric in the single that they released on Halloween. So, and Halloween, I don't know, there's just been a number of things. The EU, the exit date is Halloween. We just got this story about how they want to change Halloween to the last Saturday of October and whatnot. So, LeBron James, all of his costumes, like before Prince died, he was Prince for Halloween, and Kevin Love was Jackie Moon. And then Prince died on the night of a full moon at the age of 57, and Moon equals 57. And then after the Cavs won the NBA Finals, that was all about the number 51. LeBron James 51, Cleveland 51, Quicken Loans 51. They won the first sports championship in 51 years, which was and also 5 months and 23 days, like how Donald Trump equals that and satanic. But Martin Lawrence was 51 years old, and then for Halloween after they won, LeBron James was Jerome for Halloween from the TV show Martin Lawrence, or whatever it's called. And the whole thing is about Channel 51 and so on. And the first episode aired on 5/1. So there's something important to LeBron James's Halloween costumes.
I wonder if there's
The blackface stuff was synced up to Halloween too.
I wonder if there isn't something with Martin Lawrence I'm supposed to be following right now, because I was at the bar a week or two ago, and I argued with a couple of friends what his first movie was, and then what year that came out, and what year his TV show Martin came out. And then I went over to my parents' house a couple days later, and I watched the movie. What's the worst that could happen, with Martin Lawrence and Danny DeVito? And now I see like there's Martin themes coming up again with LeBron James and whatnot.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was from. So there's a narrative still going on with that King symbolism, right? The Cavalier being a follower of King Charles. So I don't know. I'd have to relook up Martin Lawrence. I just remember that he was important to that. And remember, LeBron, the Cavs went to the White House even on the same day that Donald Trump first visited the White House, on the day leaving 51 days of the year. So it's definitely important. And what's even funnier too, I just went to that Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie concert, which was, I've seen them both more than once, and this concert was the worst one I've ever seen, And I just thought it was funny, Rob Zombie, he remade the Halloween movies. I don't Halloween's always been my favorite holiday too, and my name like syncs up to Halloween like no other. So like Halloween 95, and so does my name, and so does my full name. So I don't know. Just kind of funny. There's something important to it. Who knows what it is? If they do move the Halloween this year to the last Saturday or something, which I don't think they will, but what they're petitioning for, the date would be October 26th, which that was the day in 2000, was it 17, when they released the JFK files. And on that same day, we got the story about Marilyn Monroe and some new pictures. Can't remember what the exact article was. And I was talking about how Charles Manson Charles Manson and Marilyn Manson was important to all this narrative. And then it was just after Marilyn Manson had supposedly got injured. And it was all about the number 10. So this day was important because it was Hillary Clinton's birthday, but it was 10 days before 144 days after Trump's birthday. And that was a big narrative within the JFK assassination and the RFK assassination. So, and then it proved my point of knowing the storyline, because Charles Manson then died like 2 weeks later. So I don't know. Just thinking about that too. Maybe that's a date to watch out for. October 26th. But
Yeah, they're probably just trying to show you something.
yeah, for sure. And who knows what it is? It could be just something stupid that it's going to lead me to another clue. Like, it's just, that's what I always feel like this does. It's like National Treasure. It's like you're just going to find another clue and then another clue and whatever else, So, but the Slipknot thing, though, the Solway Firth, too, like, I mean, I'm talking about the Iowa State Fair like crazy, and then this new album, or this new song, Solway Firth, it has the giant Ferris wheel in the background, So I don't know if they filmed this in their recent tour or something, and they're just playing at fairs or something, possibly. I don't know, but it's really interesting. They got they're playing this show at a fair, or that's what it looks like. And when I was re-looking up King James, I saw that his mother, let me find the post here. I was just re-looking up King James because of the Boris Johnson stuff, and King James's mother, it says, she was whatever, she was imprisoned, blah blah blah, but it says that she escaped after she crossed the Solway Firth into England by fishing boat on May 16th. And remember, Slipknot's last single that they released came out on May 16th. So just interesting that King James's mother would escape imprisonment after crossing the Solway Firth on a fishing boat on this date, the same day that Unsainted by Slipknot came out. And then remember, when she was killed by Elizabeth I, right, who was the queen before King James, and think about Queen Elizabeth II in regards to all that too. So I don't know if there's something important to it with this. There's supposedly the Solway Firth spaceman, and it just reminds me of the storming Area 51 stuff. And of course, this is by the numbers too. It was 3 months. The guy took the picture 3 months and 10 days after his birthday, and Solway Firth equals 310, and 310 is this humongous number I've been talking about with August 10th, and so on. And Slipknot playing at the Iowa State Fair on August 10th. So The Area 51 stuff, they're supposed to storm it on September 20th, which is the day that leaves 102 days in the year. And aliens equal 102, so it's a perfect day. And then, Area 51 and the word conspiracy equals 51 and the word moon equals 51. And oh man, Lubbock lights equal 51. It was like a famous UFO case in the year 51. The word Air Force equals 51. Tinfoil hat equals 51. So, that's why I think next year the anniversary of the moon landing is going to be really important because it'll be the 51st anniversary of the moon landing, or the supposed moon landing. So, I think I documented in one of these that the word pie. We just had this death of the word pie and Francis Bacon also equals 51. And we just had the death of that Christopher Kraft that was also important to, just super important to pi. All these astronauts are really important to pi. He dies at the age of 95. And look, pi and satanic equals 95, which reminds me of Halloween too. But that's why, remember we had John Glenn back in 2016? John Glenn died just after I talked about how there was this space moon theme when I was watching the Purdue game. And at Purdue, Eugene Cernan and Neil Armstrong, the first and last guys to be on the moon, they had both attended Purdue. And I was making this video about the space moon theme, and then John Glenn died. And then a month after John Glenn died, Eugene Cernan, the last guy to walk on the moon, dies. And his birthday was 314, which is like Pi Day, and so on. John Glenn died at the age of 95, which pi equals. So.
I just got an email from Adam Kokesh yesterday saying how he's going to take part in the raid on Area 51. I guess he's going to go out there.
Really? Well,
talk to people. So that's something I'm watching for because, the 88s are up, now with Donald Trump being president. Adam Kokesh is also 88.
Yeah. I can't remember what I told you a long time ago about him, but I don't know. I agree with it. I think it's kind of a cool idea. Just because, don't you want to know what's in Area 51? But at the same time, that they got famous for a reason, and everything else, there's attention to it for a certain reason. But I mean, who doesn't want to know like what's going on at Area 51 or what's going on in the secret room at the White House or whatever, So,
well,
I think it'd be cool if a bunch of people actually did do it. So
they got plenty of time to clean everything out of there before people show up. So,
well, for sure,
it's not going to be anything exciting.
No, and even if nobody goes there, I'm sure there'll be some type of story, or even if a bunch of people do, there'll be a story that's just completely made up anyway, that has nothing to do with what really happened. So, trying to think what else.
There's going to be some riot or something with 51 people die or something like that.
Probably exactly. It'll probably be something just like that.
Or 5 people injured, 1 dead.
Right. And then they'll change it to 10 and 2, like 102 for aliens.
Well, they won't release the toll until October 2nd. It'll be the same day as they tell us about Tyler Skaggs.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, well, 102 is important to 9/11 and stuff too, but 10-2. I wondered about 10-3. I've been watching that date a lot too, but what do you think about the No Frills guy? The guy who supposedly died at the No Frills in Council Bluffs?
That's crazy.
Isn't it? Like,
I just find that hard to believe. Like, maybe you could go without hearing the smell because you're around all the coolers and it probably smells a little back there anyways. But I don't know. That's a really strong smell.
Yeah, somebody at work one day was telling me about it, and he's like, maybe there was some type of ventilation from the coolers or whatever, but even so, I mean, I've had like a dead mouse in the house before. Like, I mean, you could smell a dead mouse forever, you know what I mean? So I don't know. And I just can't imagine somebody being behind a cooler and nobody can hear them scream or anything else, you know? Just I don't know. Makes no sense. And I ain't even joking. I can't tell you how many times I've been in that store and like I've never once suspected anything other than it's just huge tweakers, you know, there's tweakers everywhere. So I don't even know why I used to stop there just because there's a Bucky's right really close to it. So it's just easier to stop right there and then like turn on 16th Street and go to the interstate. So
I say, isn't that on? Wasn't that on Canesville?
or whatever, it's on that main strip, Broadway.
I don't remember if it was like before or after the fairway.
The fairway. Oh, it's way. Is there only one fairway in Council Bluffs?
I don't know.
Like the only fairway I know is way out by like uh there's a Casey's there now and what's the store? Kmart.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
around. Wasn't the no frills down the road a little ways on the other side?
well, you got it's a ways away, really.
Oh, okay.
If you come in, if you come into Council Bluffs off the interstate, you know what I'm talking about, and you go by the new Walmart,
Yeah.
and then you'd go up to where there's a Bucky's, and then you
Okay.
can turn
Broadway.
you turn right, and there's that big strip of stuff. You would turn right, and it's the no frills. Like just there's like a McDonald's, and then a couple. There's a can't remember what the other gas station is, like a BP or a Quick Trip or something. And then there was the no frills, and it's been closed for like a couple years. But
Huh.
that means that guy was dead in there for like 6.5 years, and nobody smelled anything.
Well, it was still open for about. Well, it was open for 6 years.
Something like that. I mean, I swear it closed only
For 2 or 3,
2016 or something. Like it closed to like in the middle of 2016 or something like that. So yeah, and this guy died in 2009.
You had some numbers on that, and Facebook deleted your post on it too.
Yeah, yeah, they deleted it. Apparently, maybe calling it no frills white trashy. I guess that's like hate talk, hate speech. I don't know.
It's
Well,
in the
I'll pull it
name.
up. Let me pull up my thing.
It's in the names though. No frills, no fancy. It's like we're being politically correct about calling ourselves white trash.
Yeah, like Council Bluffs is just hilarious, though.
That's why we
Council
call
Bluffs
it
is the
council
biggest.
tax.
It is the biggest meth town ever, dude. Like I don't know how many times I've almost ran over a tweaker on his bike, like wearing a shirt 6 sizes too big for him. Like he's gonna get caught in the pedals, dude. Oh, well, I think it still has mine pulled up. Yeah, this is what I wrote. His name, this guy's name equals 105, just like no frills. And his name also equals 267. And if you looked him up, he went missing, or his birthday was August 22nd. So he went missing 267 days before his birthday, and his name equals 267, you know? And then all I wrote was that no frills are pretty white trashy, but how did no one smell a dead body? And somehow that it got reviewed and kicked off, like the stupidest thing ever. They don't want people to think, apparently. It just doesn't make any sense. And you know what else I find it interesting is that I go to the Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie concert in Council Bluffs the day before, and then the very next day, one of the major stories on CNN is a story about Council Bluffs, Iowa, of all places. Like,
Well, why is CNN messing around with Council Bluffs?
Yeah, like I mean, Council Bluffs is really important to the Mormons and whatnot that I've like talked about a ton, but I don't get it. And it's funny they mention it's 10 years, and Marilyn Manson's all about the number 10, and so on. And I did pass out them cards. I passed out. Well, I put them like all over the bathrooms and places where people would grab stuff, and I put them on people's cars, as many as I could. And I wrote stuff on the back too, like about like you say God and I say Satan and so on. So I wrote a bunch of stuff that would hopefully get people to come and look up gematria. So, but I haven't really had any responses yet. So,
Did you talk to anybody personally about it?
dude, there was so many people there that yeah, it didn't even matter. It was just, I don't know. It never, like, the opportunity never arose to like bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're talking to people, you don't want to just instantly bring that something like that up. You want it to like kind of build into the conversation to when someone's interested. And like, I didn't really even hardly talk to that many people there. So other than the people I knew, which was actually a ton of people, and they already know that I post all this on Facebook, so it's no point. It's not like purposeful to hand them a card and whatever and talk about it. So, but I did come about 5 feet from Marilyn Manson when he walked up like the little WWE ramp that they had, and I threw a card and I was trying to hopefully hit him in the face with it, but it didn't hit him. I don't know where it went. But so he only played like 7 or 8 songs. He barely played, and he was off stage for most of the time where they were just like playing guitar because it looked like something was wrong with all of his microphones. And they even had like every time I've seen him, he has this like altar thing that he gets up on and sings. And they had that in the background, but then he never even got up and played on it. So I feel like he was going to play more, and then he was just like, screw it, because nothing was working right.
I'm in Council Bluffs. Screw this place.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I'm pretty sure it was like early. Man, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember what year it was. But we went to Marilyn Manson's first time I ever saw him, and it was at West Fair there, and he had his dick out. Like, I'm not even joking. Had his dick out on stage, like. And I from what I remember when I was younger, like they told him he couldn't come back to West Fair, and I didn't see him at West Fair for years until just the other day. So it's funny too, like going to that concert. Let me pull it up. It was 168 days before his birthday. 168 days before his birthday, and Marilyn Manson equals 168, and so does his real name, Brian Warner. Or I think, let me check that. Maybe his name equals 60. Yeah, never mind. Well, I wrote that in there wrong. Brian Warner equals 60, just like Marilyn Manson. And that's why he got injured in New York or whatever, New York City that one time. That's why it was a big deal. So, I don't know. I just thought it was funny. It was also on the anniversary of Neil Armstrong walking on the moon. Rob Zombie equals 51 like moon. And his birthday was January 12th. And that concert was 112 days before my birthday. And my full name equals 112. So I was like, there's got to be something important to this concert that I'm supposed to see. And I still don't understand what it really was, unless it was something to do with that No Frills guy. Or there was one interesting thing, because there was somebody that my friend Sturgill, who I went with, one of the coworkers that he used to have was there, and he was talking about the band Slayer, and we were telling him about how Slayer sucked when we saw them because their microphones and stuff weren't working right. And then Marilyn Manson actually played right after that, and after Slayer was on at that concert, and then Marilyn Manson's microphone wasn't working at this concert. So I forgot to even look into that. There might be something with Slayer that's important.
Well, Slayer's last ever show they're doing their last ever tour right now, and they're playing in Omaha in October. And
Really?
me and
See?
a couple of my buddies have been talking about going because I love Slayer and I always wanted to go see him.
Yeah.
And well, Ministry and Primus and Phil Anselmo were playing with him, so it's going to be a badass show. But yeah, you talked about Slayer. It's like there had to be something there because they're on their final tour and they're going to be here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is about. There's got to be something with them. And it's funny, like that show that I saw, Slayer, Marilyn Manson played and it was when he first came out with that the high end of low album that was he has a song like We're From America, where they let you come on faces or whatever, and we're from America, and he's just talking shit on America, and it's just hilarious when I go to like a Marilyn Manson concert and I see like people I know who are in the military and like absolutely just that's all they ever support and talk about. And then you're like, have you even listened to Marilyn Manson before? Like, what are you doing at this concert? If you truly feel that way, why are you coming to Marilyn Manson? Just I don't know. Just makes me laugh. But I wonder dude, looking at Slayer here, I don't know if you can see my screen, but
Yeah.
Slayer equals 82 and also 80, which is numbers that I've talked about with pi. So I don't know.
Well, it's got the 37, which is
Eugene Cernan and Neil Armstrong died at age 82. But what?
it's got the 37, so it's the same as my name since I brought it up.
Yeah, you're right. It does. Huh. And you had that chicken head thing. I don't know. Do they have a song about chickens or something?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen anything Slayer with chickens.
Yeah.
The Palo religion.
Yeah. Here. You want to share your screen?
Oh, I don't have anything brought up right now.
Oh.
What were you gonna? You were just gonna do something, weren't you?
Yeah, you know what? I'm wondering if I haven't been sharing to people this whole time. I can't even see like a chat or anything. And then now I'm seeing that it says you are screen sharing. Present to everyone. Let me see this.
Yeah,
Hold on.
your screen's been up.
Oh, maybe for you, but I don't know if it was for everyone. Maybe that's what happened last time. Sorry to anybody. I can't even tell if anyone's watching, so
Yeah, we had a nice little crowd.
well that sucks. I was showing all kinds of crap on my screen. Hopefully it wasn't just me on the screen the whole time. I would have changed the channel. Oh man. What were you gonna show though? You want to show something?
No, I wasn't showing anything. I thought you were doing something.
No. I was just I thought you were gonna show something about that religion, the Paimon or whatever it was.
Oh,
Palo.
the Palo Mayambe.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll talk about that. All right, I'll bring up my screen here. All right, so I had this weird thing the other night where it was the other day. I think it was might have been last Saturday. I was sitting around. I had YouTube on, and I just had like these stories on occult crimes or whatever. And there's one that came up. I guess it happened in San Francisco in around 81. I think it said. No, I wasn't sure on the year, but I think it was in 81. And some guy had his head removed, was decapitated, and they had a decapitated chicken body stuffed down his neck hole. And they called in an occult specialist detective. They said to watch out for the next 42 days because they believed that it was part of the Palo religion. And in 42 days, they were gonna return the head to where they took it from, and sure enough, they did, but they didn't pay any attention to her, so they never caught the person who did it. But after that, let me see. I had to bring up. I got it all written down here. Okay. So later, I watched a movie on Netflix called The Ritual, and there's this one scene in the movie. They walk into this cabin, and there's this like big monument. I don't know, it was made out of hay or whatever, but it was headless, and they showed and it had chicken feet on it. So once it reminded me of that story I'd heard earlier. And then before that night, or before I went to sleep that night, I just put something on and lay down on the couch to fall asleep to. It was this episode of South Park, and they're talking about necromancer chickens. So what are the odds of that? I mean, it's a comedy and whatnot, but who thinks of something like that? And then I have to hear that after everything I heard that day. And I think it was the next night before I went to bed after I got home from work, I put on The Office, and the character Michael was talking about how somebody had the skills of a headless chicken or something. So it all just really tied together. So I just kind of started looking up stuff on Halo, and it's basically the darker side of Santeria, and it's just all these weird things. You know, you can find tons of, you know, the high priests or shamans that have came to America, and they all get arrested for raiding mausoleums and stealing teeth and bones and stuff. And it's just a lot of weird stuff, but I guess it's a really prevalent thing.
What show are you watching?
It was just some video on YouTube.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. And you know it's something important to you, just considering I don't even remember what your name equals 37. What did I even share to you? Your name equals 37, chicken equals 37 or something. Can't even remember it all. Palo was Spanish for something.
Stick.
Stick, yeah, that's what it was. And it is funny. I was like really just getting ready to write about a bunch of stick symbolism. Let me see here. There we go. Yeah, you posted about, yeah. Chicken equals 37, Palo and 44, Palo equals 44. Your name's 37. Palo means stick that equals 37. So, because it's funny, every time I start writing about these themes, because I've been trying to write this book where I talk about the synchronicity and a lot of things, right? And every time I start writing about a certain topic, like all of a sudden it's becoming big again in the mainstream media. And it's like, I don't even get it. Like I was talking about, like Slipknot and Freddie Mercury and, you know, all the stuff, the Queen symbolism and the VMAs. And then all of a sudden, you know, Slipknot's important again. And just had a bunch of synchronicity while writing this book. So Zach posted a random post about Freddie Mercury and the Queen and whatnot. But
I
you know,
just I just looked up that story that from San Francisco that I started with on this website, the 13th Floor, which might actually be the YouTube channel. I'm not sure, but right away, the first thing that comes up is this picture of all these chicken feet. And I guess the murder occurred uh, underneath a bridge in the Golden Gate Park. So that's really fitting there.
Let me stop sharing my screen so that I don't even know. So you can share it. Or if you want to, I guess.
I should be sharing right now.
Okay. I don't know how it works. It says on mine that I don't know.
Can you see the picture there?
Like down in the little corner I can.
Oh, okay.
There we go. I brought it back up.
Yeah, there's the chicken feet.
I don't, it just reminds me of ICP whenever I think of chicken heads. So, huh.
Oh, I don't think I read this one. I should read that whole story there. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I guess makes more sense. I don't. I should look up. You should look up Sublime and
Yeah.
right. Like I never. I don't think I've ever looked into his death.
Oh, Bradley Noel. I did look into his
Sure.
a while ago. Remember
Yeah, I think I did now too. That you say that.
when I did the one on him and Shannon Hoon and
Yeah,
uh,
that was a while back though.
guy that was a Pennywise bass player. That's been a long time ago.
That's why I forgot about it. Oh, yeah, dude. So last night I remembered watching that or I just read the news article that the guy from Blade Runner died, and then it was like I was like, oh, I've never seen the movie Blade Runner before, so I figured I would just watch Blade Runner because I've always wanted to watch it because people talk about it all the time, and I had no idea what it was about, and so I watched the movie and then I looked up the guy who just died, and when I looked him up on Wikipedia, I like instantly knew who this guy was, right? Rudger. I would never recognize his name for the life of me, but right when I saw this picture, I was like, dude, that is Lothos on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And sure enough, it really is. He played Lothos, like the lead vampire or whatever. Or I don't know if he's Dracula or if he's just like the head vampire on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'm like, I mean, all year I've been talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer being important, and then that guy dies. The guy from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I don't know, just it shouldn't even be mind blowing at this point, but it just always happens. He died at the age of 75. The word Buffy equals 75. Luke Perry, who was also in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, died 75 days after Christy Swanson's birthday. She was Buffy in the movie. And that Rudker guy, his full name equals 212, and he died 212 days after Christy Swanson's birthday. And I saw some other interesting things with this guy. Like he was in Batman Begins, apparently. I have to rewatch that movie too, but I mean, think about how the Buffy symbolism was important to Batman and Slipknot in the Iowa State Fair. Donald Trump saying he was Batman at the Iowa State Fair, the helicopter. And Buffy, remember when you showed me that post about how she was getting trolled? And then it was for supporting Donald Trump. And
Yeah.
with Dean Cain, who portrays Dean Cain was everybody has to know him for being Superman or whatever, Clark Kent. And Dean Cain, his birthday is July 31st, which is the same day that Buffy the Vampire Slayer came out. So, and then Ben Affleck was important to a lot of what I was saying. And Ben Affleck just so happens to be born on August 15th, which was the same day that Donald Trump said he was Batman at the Iowa State Fair in 2015, when we got all that Batman symbolism in August and the Batman shooter being sentenced and whatnot. And then he was Batman in the upcoming Batman versus Superman film. So
Yeah, when I saw he died, all I could think of right away was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Because
Really?
he was in it, and because I had just watched the movie because you were talking about it. I'd never seen the movie before. I remember watching the show when I was a kid, but I never saw the movie, so I watched that. But I ended up watching this other movie. It's called The Right with Anthony Hopkins.
Hmm.
It's somewhat based on a true story about like so priests who do exorcists and stuff. But Rutger Hauer was in that one too.
Yep. I'd looked that movie up last night. I know I did. Or I saw that he was in that movie. But you watched that movie? I couldn't remember if you said The Ritual or The Right. I was going to text you that the other night.
Uh, the one I was talking about with the chicken feet was The Ritual, which was on Netflix, and then this was The Right with Rutger Hauer and Anthony Hopkins.
Hmm. You know, he also died on July 19th, which is the same day that The Lion King came out. And The Lion King was really important to all of that stuff with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because Buffy the Vampire Slayer equals 310. And what I posted about Buffy the Vampire Slayer 3 months and 10 days before Luke Perry died. Buffy Summers equals 310. Then we had that Ethiopian airline crash that was important to the Lion of the Tribe of Judah on 310. So it's fun. It's funny too in regards to Blade Runner. I've never seen it before, and it opens up Los Angeles, November 2019. And then this guy's like the robot who dies at the end, and he dies in 2019, and then this movie's like set in Los Angeles in 2019 of all places. I mean, think about all the Los Angeles symbolism that's been going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I swear that like the Tyler Skaggs, there's something to do with the Angels used to being owned by Disney, right? Disney owned the Angels until just at the season after, midway through the season or in the beginning, Disney sold the Angels or whatever, but Disney owned them when they won their only World Series against the San Francisco Giants in 2002. And then we had that Abigail Disney talking about how she didn't like the way Disney was going or something. And then that's why we got the death of that Cameron Boyce guy, because that has to do with Disney, and the Lion King has to do with Disney. So there's something important to Disney with a lot of the Los Angeles symbolism and stuff too. So I wonder too, like Harrison Ford, right, in the movie Blade Runner. I noticed that Harrison Ford has the same birthday as Tyler Skaggs, and they have that whole 713 ritual. That's why I think that the Houston Astros are important. 713 area code. It was important to Barbara and George Bush. She died 7 months and 13 days before him, but it made me think of Raiders of the Lost Ark. And believe it or not, I went to Netflix last night before I went to bed, and the first movie that popped up was Raiders of the Lost Ark, which I haven't seen in years. So I started watching it, but I don't know, I didn't make it very far. But anyway, the Ark of the Covenant's important to Ethiopia and so on. That was important to 310. And Ethiopia had the airline crash. And if you remember Harrison Ford, he in recent years he's been in two plane crashes, or there was two plane things, and they happened 713 days apart. And then his birthday was 713. So there's something important to Harrison Ford that's connected to the Los Angeles stuff. So Han Solo, I don't know. I get to go to the JoJo Siwa concert in Omaha here in a few weeks, or
Is that,
August 6th.
is that some kid performer?
Yeah, never heard of this person at all in my entire life until what, 2 days ago or yesterday, whenever I wrote this up. Because my sister texted me and asked me if Claire wanted to go to the JoJo Siwa concert for her birthday. And I was like, who is that? Never even heard of it. And then apparently it's like the new Nickelodeon version of Hannah Montana or something. Then Claire went to Denison and she got a new outfit for her birthday. And she bought a bow tie. Never said a word to anybody about this. Then my sister texted me and she bought this bow tie thing and put it in her hair and told me she looked like JoJo Siwa later that night. And I was like, played dumb. And I was like, who's that? And then we got on YouTube and she showed me a bunch of her stupid songs and whatnot. And so I don't know. It's just kind of funny. I know that her real name equaled 725. And she's from Omaha, of all places. And this happened on the date of 725. So who knows? A May 19th birthday. It just makes me think of that duck symbolism.
I'm looking at Harrison Ford movies and talking about Area 51 earlier. He did this movie called Cowboys and Aliens.
Dude, I watched that movie a billion times trying to figure out what the cowboy symbolism was back around the time that Charles Manson died. And I don't see it, I guess. But there's definitely something with that movie.
It
Cow
came. It'll be the 8-year anniversary on Sunday that it was released. I've
Yeah,
never,
what
I've never even seen or heard of this movie. I'm just looking at it right now.
really? Yeah. It's not really that great of a movie, I didn't think. But it was something to do with gold. I haven't seen it in a while either, but there's something to do with why, like gold, and I can't remember what it was about, honestly. But I remember watching it, trying to figure out what the point was, because there was all that space cowboy stuff. I was talking about that space theme being important, and I rewatched the movie Space Cowboy, and that has Donald Sutherland in it, who's also Merrick in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, another guy I've been watching for. So
Since I just talked about the movie, the right, I see Harrison Ford had a movie called The Possessed.
The Possessed. I mean, other than Indiana Jones, I really just remember him from whatever Star Wars.
Yeah, that's all I ever knew him from growing up is Star Wars and Indiana Jones. And of course, I got older and I realized he's been in 100 things.
Right.
Pretty.
I honestly feel like when I was younger, my cousin Justin went and saw like a live action, the filming or something. Well, it couldn't have been the filming of this movie. It's like a live action thing of Indiana Jones, and it was at Disneyland or Disney World or one of them. I don't even know. It's just he's also in Air Force One, which is thinking about the Air Force and aliens and Area 51. But the only reason that movie just reminds me that it's the only movie I know of that Steven Seagal dies in. Like he's like invincible in every movie, but he dies in this movie. So it's like every time I see this movie, that's what I think of. I think it's this movie. Or is it Executive Decision? I could be mixing them up here. I might be mixing it up. I think I am. Executive Decision is the movie that Steve. Yeah, never mind. Forget what I just said. Air Force One. Nelly's coming to Omaha soon too.
We were listening to him on the radio at work the other day, and I was thinking, like, man, he was so huge back in the day. Like all of his songs were all over the radio all the time, and then he just disappeared out of nowhere. And I was just thinking, what the hell happened to him? Where is he? And then I hear Nelly's coming to Omaha.
You know?
With
Yeah.
what?
Oh, he's had a lot of hits over the years.
Oh,
At least,
really?
yeah. I mean, just people ask me to download them and stuff when I'm DJing.
No, I guess I'm out of the loop because I don't think I've heard anything out of him since 2002.
Right. Like, yeah, since like whatever this album is. If you want to go and take a ride with me or whatever. Well,
Yeah.
that's called Ride With Me, yeah. Yeah, he's had there's like Shake Your Tail Feather and I don't know, maybe that's old too. But the Air Force ones. Yeah, he's had all kinds of stuff. Maybe not real recent, but not that long ago. Who knows? I wonder if he still wears the Band-Aid and all that.
I don't remember that.
Didn't he used to wear a Band-Aid on his face or something?
That sounds familiar.
Who knows? But
Not that I was ever into his music. He just couldn't get away from it.
yeah, I think I used to like it a lot back in the day. Back when I had subs and all that in my car and
And
uh,
I had a nice system, but I got robbed. Well, my car got stolen, and then I didn't get my system back.
yep, go figure. I think mine burned up eventually because I really didn't know what I was doing that much, and then I don't know. I just never spent any more money on it. It's like going to get tattoos and all that. Like I always wanted to get a bunch, and then instead I just buy a new guitar or something I can actually use.
Right. Yeah, I've
So,
only got like 4 tattoos, and I'm like, well, I don't mind them, but they cost a lot of money, and they're kind of dumb. But
right. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, I'm glad
whatever.
I never got any. I got a Sharpie if I ever want a tattoo. It's
Yeah,
fun stuff. Can draw well.
glad I got out of it, and I never made it a habit, at least.
Yeah,
Because I haven't got one in years. I'm not interested in doing anymore.
right. Same with piercings, though. I had a bunch of different piercings. I've never taken I had this one for so long, I forgot even to have it. Just, I don't know why I even leave it in, but oh,
I just pierced my own ears.
something you pierced your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I remember just having Casey Schwery shove a stud through my ear. Like we didn't even like do the whole potato thing or anything. We just took a stud and he pushed it all the way through. But I wanted to show something on here. The other couple weeks ago, I was listening to the Gematria Effect, and I had some synchronicity with it too. But I wanted to show something with the Gematrinator. Somebody had called in about the Gematrinator when they typed in the word infinity, like infinity. It wouldn't come down in this like search thing if you typed a capital I. And it doesn't on mine either, but if you do a lowercase I, infinity, then it will show up in this search thing, which I rarely even look down here at these anyway, I guess. Well, sort of I do, but it's just somebody had talked about that. And right around the same time when I was listening to that, I was looking for a post about the 10 Sephirots because I was writing some stuff about Marilyn Manson and the 10 Sephirots to understand God on the Tree of Life and stuff. And right as I heard this guy talking about the Gematrinator not working with infinity, I came up to this old post where I talked about when I typed in the word infinity on the Gematrinator, it just put words infinity all over the Gematrinator. And I can't remember what Derek told me. He told me there was a reason for it and whatnot, but it just, I don't know. It's just interesting that the word, I had some kind of synchronicity with the word infinity in the Gematrinator. And I'm bringing that up because a while back I was writing about Old Town Road. I think it was back in May here. Let me see here. Well, let me find the post here. Maybe I put a link in here. I didn't.
Are you meaning to screen share?
Oh, am I not screen sharing?
No.
It says I'm presenting to everyone on mine.
Oh, okay. I can't see it.
Well, what the heck? Am I now?
Yep.
What the heck? Liar. Like what? It says on the top of my deal, like, you are
Well,
screen.
now I know why the last one
Well,
got screwed up.
it didn't say screen sharing. It said presenting, not screen sharing. But so yeah, I was doing this. I was looking into some story about Travis Tritt, right, and all these country rappers, and I don't know. The moral of the story is later on when I was typing in on the Gematrinator and it kept messing up. Like I kept getting like I type in the same word and I would get different values. Like how is that even possible? You know, Old Town Road was giving me 138, and then it was also giving me 141. So I don't know, just something for people to watch out for, because for some reason there was a glitch in it, and it made sense. Like it was giving me 138, and it made sense with what I was looking up at the time too. Was I think it was Little Nas X's birthday to, I can't remember why. Was it August 25th? Oh, Little Nas X's birthday to Billy Ray Cyrus's birthday was 138 days. And if you typed in Old Town Road, it was giving me 138. And I was like, huh, crazy, it syncs up. And then, but really, it equals 141. And when it messed up, I thought it was funny because Gematrinator equals 141, because I double checked it with by hand or whatever, and I don't know. It's that big number with August 11th and so on. So I guess I just wanted to point that out to people, that to maybe double check sometimes, because I mean I haven't been doing it since really, but I don't know why it would have messed up. That doesn't make any sense. And I was going to ask Derek that, but then I forgot. So just kind of interesting. So bringing that up, I guess.
I was just over here on USA Today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to share my screen here. But I was looking at this, and of course, we got this article here on Leonardo DiCaprio's girlfriend, Camilla Moroni, breaks her silence on their 22-year age gap. Pretty sure we started off this live stream talking about 22.
Yeah.
I haven't gone over the story yet, but you talked about the $2.5 billion on the border wall. And then here's this $250 million Sandman lawsuit against Washington Post. So there's your other 25 here.
Yeah.
That's
I
stuff
only brought that up because I was in the middle of making a blog post about it. And when we were trying to get this live stream going, and it's just so stupid how it synced up. Even the word border wall equals 61. You read out border wall, and it was 6 months and 1 day from the 25th or whatever when that government shutdown came to an end. Mm. You know, it's funny. I don't know. There's been a lot of stuff with Aleister Crowley or however you say his name recently too. I don't know what it is, but I've been seeing a lot of weird stuff with him. And I told you that one day that my I we were sitting here trying to think of names, and my daughter and my girlfriend both want to name our new kid Alistair. And I'm like, why do you want to name it Alistair? And like they just randomly were looking up weird names and they found Alistair and they liked it. But they want to spell it Alistair, not like Aleister Crowley's name or whatever. But I was like, you guys want like really want to name it Alistair after like Aleister Crowley, and like they have no idea who that is. And I was like, it's the only Alistair I've ever heard of, you know. So I don't know. We haven't decided. I think we might do it though. I think it's kind
That'd
of
be
cool.
cool.
I think it's kind of cool, even though like it's seems wicked, but you know, at the same time, like has really nothing to do with him, but it kind of does. And
Well,
also,
he's not.
like, they present a lot of things to you in the truth community and in the mainstream media and everything that you're supposed to think is bad, when really maybe there's something actually. Maybe a lot of what we're told about him is like not fully truthful. They just do that to scare you away from magic and everything else. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just something to think about.
Yeah, they tell you it's all bad, not to do it, but if you look into it, there's actually so much good about it, but there is equally as much bad. But at the same time, all the people that tell you not to do it because it's bad are the same people who follow Jesus and believe in Jesus and all that stuff. And then they completely forget that the entire reason he was crucified was for sorcery. So, I mean, but essentially that's the story of Jesus was teaching people, how to do magic.
Right? To yeah, to get out of the slavery, right? Yes. I mean,
Right, and of course his intentions were pure. There's no such thing as black magic or white magic. It all depends on the intent of the alchemist.
you know, yeah, I've been trying to figure that out since day one with this information. Like, it seems like, it's always going to exist around us. And it's like there's people who understand this and they're using it to rule over us, but they also understand that we need bad things in the world for good things to happen, But then if we need new people there's got to be someone or something to rule the world, doesn't there? Like to keep it in balance. And like I personally don't know anybody who is worthy enough to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like
You're
to
still sharing your screen.
not be selfish. Oh, I am. Well, whatever. I don't know anybody that is unselfish enough to not do this for their own personal gain. So like it just seems to me like there has to be some type of balance, but we have to like change people's minds about, you know, how the way the world is, and we got to create a better world before we can fix it. And I'm not explaining it. Like we have to get people to care about other people again in order to like fix the world, because this code it's always going to be around us apparently, but we need better people controlling it. But then I don't know anybody who's better at controlling it. So, you know,
Should we really be controlling it at all?
see that exactly, like I don't know the answers.
Yeah, I've
Things,
been looking into stuff on invoking Michael the archangel, and supposedly you can ask him to help you with things or to help other people. But like the one thing that he will not do is he will not interfere with free will at all. He doesn't do materialistic things and he doesn't interfere with free will. So I kind of wonder if that's kind of how all the codes work,
Mhm.
or if there are certain others that will go against that. Like, it's mostly all symbolic stuff, but I don't know. You can probably obviously tell that I've never messed around with it, but that's just
Right. I just don't have the balls right now to do it. Which I don't know. Just but yeah, I just always wonder that. I'm like, man, did you watch like movies like Smallfoot? You ever watch that movie? Probably not.
no, never heard.
I have kids, that's why I know that movie.
Of
Check out Smallfoot. It's like these all the abominable snowmen guys. They have to go live up in the clouds or whatever, and then the one guy rules over with he rules over them by telling them like fake stories and whatever to scare them, and then so they won't leave the top of the mountain. And then when they finally do, they realize that it's not so bad and whatever. And like then it's just like they're controlling you to keep you safe, but at the same time, like it's not being truthful and being good for the world, and it just seems like they put it in so many people's faces sometimes that seems like they want people to know that there's more, and they're just kind of like testing it out to see like how people will react to it or something. And because I mean they've just been putting it in movies and everything else for so long. They've done obvious things with like 9/11. It's like I don't know. I don't know the full answer, but sometimes I feel like it's happening for a reason, like on purpose, right?
it seems like it.
And then if you think about hermeticism and you think about like everything is good, but it's also bad, I don't like seems like they're overdoing the bad though to create good for themselves or something instead of, because bad things have to happen according to that, you know, belief, which seems pretty realistic with the way the more and more I've like understood the world. It seems like hermeticism makes a lot of sense, although I don't like to be the one who thinks of only two sides of things. I like to think that there's more than two choices, good or bad. It could be something in between that we just don't know about. Well, just rambling now.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
I
I
mean,
I had this weird thing happen the other day, and I was gonna document it, but I just got home from work, and it was after 2 o'clock in the morning. But I got this random news story from Google on my phone. I looked at it, and it was about someone in the Catholic Church is calling out the Freemasons and Rosicrucians again, saying now there's too many of them in the Catholic Church and they holding authority, and they want to try and kick them all out and ban them from the Catholic Church again. And they're saying how there's no room in Catholicism for the Freemasons or Rosicrucians, and nothing that they do has to do with Christ or anything. There's a whole big article that popped up on Google randomly on my phone all about it. It just happened the other day. I think it was on
well,
Monday.
I thought I saw something like that on Facebook or something too. Somebody posting about that. I can't remember what it was, but I mean, it's you know when you got Pope Francis before he's the Pope doing the hidden hand symbol and so on. Seems obvious, but I don't know.
I guess that happens every few years now, I guess. I'd never heard it before, but I read the article, and they said the people in the Catholic Church make a big deal out of it every once in a while, and they try and kick everybody out, but it hasn't worked in a long time.
Yeah. Well, they make it seem like they're two separate things too. But like you said, like I don't know, if you go back to like King Henry VIII and all that, and you just read through all of the things, and then you go, oh, well, this person married a Catholic, and it just, I don't know.
And back then, you had all the conversos.
Right. And then there's something important to that era as well, because that's how King James became the king, through what was it, his one of his daughters, I believe. And that was right around the time of, Columbus supposedly discovering America and so on. So that's why Christopher Columbus is really important to Aleister Crowley too, because he discovered America on the Aleister Crowley's birthday. That's why that Chris Kraft guy that just died, the astronaut, or the whatever he was, what was he called? He wasn't the astronaut, the guy who worked at NASA, but his middle name was Columbus. If you notice that, Christopher Columbus Kraft, and he died like 82 days before Columbus Day, and that's why like Eugene Cernan died at the age of 82, and Neil Armstrong died at the age of 82. They died 144 days apart, like their death days were at least. So I think Chris Kraft died 144 days after his birthday. And if you sum the first 144 digits after the decimal pi, it's 666, and NASA's full name equals 666. So pi and 666. I don't know. John Glenn died 144 days after his birthday, at the age of 95 as well, just like this Kraft guy. So I don't know. There's something important to it.
There's definitely a big NASA thing going on. Like, anytime I watch something on YouTube, I'll put up a podcast or something, and there's somebody in a NASA shirt, or there's a commercial on a TV when I'm out around TVs. There's somebody in a NASA shirt, or I'll see somebody walking down the street or walking to a store, and everybody's wearing these NASA T-shirts all the time recently. I just think that's really strange. Why are all these people just going out and buying NASA shirts?
I've never noticed it, but
And even with all the stuff on TV and on the internet with people wearing them, it's like, to a point you have to think, well, they got some kind of wardrobe that's having them put stuff on.
Right. Remember, Steph Curry too said that he didn't believe the moon landing or something. What did he say? I can't remember what he said, but remember Steph Curry had to go to the NASA earlier this year.
I didn't hear that.
And Steph Curry's born on Pi Day, just like Eugene Cernan. So I can't remember what he said. It wasn't the Earth was flat. It was something to do with. I think it was something to do with the moon landing was fake or something. But I watched one of the JoJo Siwa videos. If you go to her channel, like the main video that they share, it's like a video of her on the fake moon or whatever too. I thought that was funny. That was just after, I talked about the moon and all kinds of stuff. Claire, my daughter Claire had some crazy synchronicity one night. And she doesn't even understand this, but I was sitting here like writing about something, and then she's like, "Did you hear that? Just when I was typing the word what, the TV said what?" And I was like, "Really?" They're like, "Why are you telling me this? It's weird." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I rarely talk to her about this, and she just like had this synchronicity. And I looked it up. I'll pull it up really quick because it was awesome. I found like all the stuff within her own synchronicity for her because she doesn't really understand it. Let me share my screen here. Screen share. So, yeah, so for whatever reason, Seinfeld was on, and I never watched Seinfeld, so it must have been on after like Family Guy or something like that. And like I said, she was typing the word "what" to her Aunt Haley, and the TV show said "what," right? She was typing the word, and the word "what" equals 52, just like her Aunt Haley name who she was texting, 52. And right after she told me that, I grabbed my phone to see what time it was because I was like, crazy synchronicity. Want to see what time it is, And I had this notification on my phone from this person on my video about the Rams in the Super Bowl, right? And I'm thinking, her aunt's name is Haley Ramsdell. That's kind of funny. And when I looked up this person, they had the same name gematria as Claire. And Los Angeles Rams also equal 52, like what? And like Haley Ramsdell. So I was like, huh, that's weird. So I went and looked up the episode of Seinfeld, and it was one called The Chaperone. And at the bottom of it, where it talks about the production, it goes on to tell us about the opening scenes of this episode were filmed at Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California, substituting for Yankee Stadium while the New York Yankees were actually in town for the series against the California Angels. So I was like, huh, we're talking about all this Angel stuff, and then now all of a sudden, like, this episode has to do with the Angels and the Yankees. And it was also in the year 1994, the year of the Major League Baseball strike, where the last games were played on August 11th. And 94 was also the year that Angels in the Outfield came out, right? And that was just before the Major League Baseball strike. So I was like, huh, what are the odds? And then even further, I went and watched that episode, and it begins in the locker room with the Yankee player who wears number 45, which reminds us of Tyler Skaggs and whatnot. So it was Danny Tartable. I don't have a clue. You probably know. I didn't watch baseball in this era really, so I still didn't really watch baseball. So, but trying to think. I talked about the Angels and the Astros game too before this, and I can't remember what I talked about, but I noticed it was 3 months and 9 days before the World Series. Like New York equals 39, and then I went and looked up. I found out all this stuff about Disney, right? About Disney owning the Angels, and I went and looked up when they sold the team, and they just so happened to sell it on May 15th of 2003, I believe it was. And that was the same day the Angels played their 39th game of the season against the Yankees, of all teams. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Claire had some weird synchronicity. I always have synchronicity with that girl. So, I don't know. I'm done rambling here, but I thought it was awesome that she had synchronicity, and then I was able to look up her synchronicity and find all the stuff that I've been recently mentioning. So,
Well, talking about that, I had it earlier. You were talking about May 16th, and it made me think about the Lagwagon song, May 16. So I was looking that up, and I was looking at I was typing it in, and as soon as I started typing 16, you started talking about the number 16 and what that did was something else. I was like, oh, imagine that. I'm typing up, and he doesn't even know, and then he says at the same time I'm typing it.
right. It's never ending. I bet I've had it like 50 times a day with the TV. Like it never ends. I was listening to the Gematria Effect because I hadn't listened to it yet. Right. I mean, like I listened to like an hour of it, and I was listening to, I can't remember what word it was, but right when someone said a specific word like sleep, the word sleep like appeared on the TV. And I was like, okay. I mean, just all day long, it happens. It's never ending for me. Like, if I documented about every time I had synchronicity, I mean, I would have 50 extra blog posts every single day. I mean,
I don't know. That's why I don't do them all. But then eventually, it always ends up, man, I wish I would have because sometimes they'll tie together, and I
oh
wish I could remember all of them. I can't.
yeah, it's like, yeah, I mean, it is every single day. Well, I
Yeah,
don't know
it's
about you. I'm good.
it's getting a little late.
I gotta charge my phone. I got a DJ a wedding tomorrow, so I don't have to leave until I don't know, probably 2 or something. But I'm like one of them cool DJs who shows up at like 3 in the afternoon and I'll DJ until like 2 in the morning. Like, and then I only charge $200 when like other people charge like $1,000 and they come for like 4 hours and that's it. So
You get free drinks though, right?
yeah, free drinks.
There you go. You get all that extra time of free drinks in.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But it's like, yeah, you almost have to drink when I don't know anybody. Like tomorrow night, I don't have these people. I DJ'd a different wedding there. I don't know how they got a hold of me, but
Where are you
it's
gonna be in?
in Arcadia.
No.
It's like it's smaller than Dunlop, but it's a big old like gym area. It's all right. It'll be a good time. These people, they seem pretty cool. I just hope I don't like pronounce their name wrong or something. Better ask around. I was supposed to call them, and then I was like, whatever. I'll just ask somebody before you guys come in. But I always figure, what do you expect? I only charge $200. You know,
Right.
like if you wanted something amazing, then all right. If I mess up, big deal. I got to go to in August. I'm doing one like clear out by Colorado for Cody Green's sister. So who knows? Maybe have to make a stop in Colorado.
You gonna at least ask for 300 on that one?
No, they gave me 500, and I told them that was way too much, but that's what they gave me. So usually I don't get paid until the night of too, but they I don't know. His mom paid me. She gave me one time, dude. His mom one time something was wrong with her printer, and she called me over, and I don't even know what it took like an hour or something to fix. Can't remember. And she gave me like $80 for it to help her, and I was like, dude, I don't need like I would have just did this for free. And she like made me take it. She's like, just if you're not gonna take it, go buy your kids some toys or whatever. And I was like, okay, whatever. So,
All
but
right.
but
Well,
yeah,
yeah, we should definitely do this more often and at least
yeah, for sure.
get more familiar with it so it doesn't take us an hour to set it up and
Yeah. I'll try to remember.
well, yeah, at least as long as one of us knows what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't even live stream until May 16th, actually.
Oh, it was your strike?
Yeah. So,
Well, we
but
always got my channel, but I don't have quite as many people, but
yeah, or Facebook or something too.
right.
But all right. Well, I'll let you go. Otherwise, I'm keep you on here for 3 more hours just small talking about nothing. So,
All right.
all right. Later,
Peace.
man.